Yo, 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 what is up? It is Tuesday night. You know what time it is. It's time for intentional grounding right here on the Buffalo Media Podcast Network. I'm your host, Sterls. Got my dog, Rob T Radio, Rob Trigilio, as you know him.
What's going on? How you doing, brother?
Uh,
Welcome back.
well, hey, it feels good to be back, sleeping in your own bed. I had a great cruise, though, I ain't gonna lie. It was nice.
Did it help or hurt that you were on the cruise when this all went down?
Oh, it helped tremendously.
Yeah.
Tremendously. And you know, this is the first conversation that I've had since the loss. The first one.
Let's ease into it then. Tell me where you watched the game.
Okay, so
What was your setup?
I was on an MSC cruise, for those of you who don't know. So we boarded in Orlando on Sunday, the Sunday of the game. And first of all, there was a ton of Bills fans on this ship. I mean, like decked out in Bills gear, doing the shout song and all this stuff. So we're in the sports bar, okay? And
Can I just say I'm disappointed in every single one of you, but go ahead.
I know you probably are. So we're sitting in the sports bar, and the sports bar is really cool because it has like the bar area, obviously, but it has like booths, and each booth has a television in it. Okay. And the booth that I was in, it was like it could seat 8 to 10. And it was me, and then a bunch of like random people I didn't know. Okay. Me and the lady, right? And so we're watching. And, I was excited at first. I was like, okay, like this is a game that I feel like, we've been talking about, Rob, that the Bills is a winnable game. Like, and then I see that first drive and I'm like, oh shit. Okay. Like, is Josh got the heebie-jeebies, or is there something? What's up? I'm like,
so you freaked out like Josh Allen?
Oh yeah, cool. And the rule is you don't freak out after the first drive. But I was like, this is the AFC
rule. You've never abided by that rule. You're going to start abiding by that rule?
I've abided by that rule all season, Rob.
I don't know about that.
But that was definitely in the back of my mind. And I'm like, I am unwell. It's the AFC Championship. And yeah, dude, that first drive didn't look good to me. And then the Chiefs get the ball and they go right down and score. I'm like, okay. Oh boy. And so I don't know, man. It just there's so many things in that game that I just what do you do? What do you do? What do you do?
I think that answer is different if it was last year or this year.
What do you mean?
I mean, what do you do? Last year, you talk about flipping over the roster and you got a bunch of old guys. This year, I mean, your biggest problem is that your 24-year-old wide receiver and 23-year-old defensive end who've been playing great need new contracts, right? Like, you are in a much different place than I think you were at the end of last year. And at the end of last year, if we would have had this conversation, I can see it being a lot darker. So I know it feels like kind of bashing your head against the same wall, and you are. And that's a wall you're going to have to deal with for the entire time that Josh Allen is your quarterback. But I think the roster composition and the feel of the team is a whole lot more positive than it was at the end of last year, don't you? I mean, if we're starting at the end rather than talking about the game, just overall, I feel like we feel like we're in a better spot than we did when Tyler Bass misses that kick last year.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like there was a dark cloud over the team last year, like because there were just so many things other than football related on the field that we spent our offseason talking about, the Diggs drama and so forth, aging and, trying to retool. And so this year, yeah, I mean, they overperformed. But you know what, though? It was like because like they had the chance to win and only lost the game by 3 points.
But so I want to stop you there because that is one of the things that made me feel better.
I mean,
Did
it's
you
a
feel
feeling.
like
It's
you were
something.
outclassed on that field?
Actually, I feel like they were robbed, to be honest.
We can get into that, but like it wasn't. They weren't. I don't think the Bills were clearly the better team. I think the Bills had some opportunities they could have taken advantage of that would have given them a better spot, a better position. I don't think the Bills were the better team. I don't think the Chiefs were the better team. I think you were on the field with an equal, and they came up 3 points better than you. With everything said and done, it's a situation where we're going to find out on Sunday, but that might be the best team in the NFL and has been for years. And you're a coin flip game against them.
Yeah, I know.
So, I don't know. When we're sitting in a 17-year playoff drought, I would have signed for it in blood. You know what I mean? I don't know. There's been a lot of doom and gloom, and I've tried to stay away from, message boards and other podcasts and stuff like that.
Same.
I wanted my own thoughts to coalesce about what happened. But at the end of the day, he's the best quarterback in the league right now, and they're the best team in the league right now, and that's the best coach in the league right now, and that might be the best assistant coach in the league right now, and you're a coin flip against them. You're a coin flip against them.
Yeah. They're on a generational run, and it was one. I was of the belief at one point in time, like, Bills, you got to get over the hump. And after that game, I'm just like, you still got to get over the hump, but I understand it now. Like that level of success that the Chiefs are having is, dude, it's you can't replicate that, and it's so unique. Andy Reid, the play calling, Spags, Chris Jones. Dude, it's just the perfect recipe. Unfortunately, it just, it puts the Bills in a light that I think they're not. It's unfair criticism for the Bills. I think it's unfair criticism for Sean McDermott to an extent. I do feel like he could be better in moments, but I felt like, man, given the personnel you have on defense, like, it kind of is what it is. Like, you kind of signed up for this.
Well, I don't know if I agree with that.
I know you don't.
Well, so let's go back and just talk about a couple things from the game before we get into like the big picture offseason stuff. You sent a couple texts during the game, and we had a bar full of people. It was crazy. So I didn't really see them as we were going through, but every once in a while I glanced down and it would be, oh, I'm done with this, or I can't believe that, or something like that. It's like, so tell me what were the things that stuck out to you during that game?
The Bills' defensive line no showed. I think Ed Oliver was the only one that showed any ounce of effectiveness. Kyrie Elam at corner is a disaster.
Yeah.
That
was one of my main takeaways too, is you're either going to have to pay Rasul Douglas or find somebody else as an option. You cannot go into next year with him as a starter.
Rasul Douglas, no impact to me. You got just unathletic at safety with DeMar Hamlin. And offensively, it's like, catch the damn ball. Curtis Samuel, catch the ball. Dalton Kincaid, catch the damn ball. Josh, you got to recognize that blitz, man. Like, you got to see that better. I can't be too hard on Josh, but yeah, there were some moments in there I'm like, damn, dude, like you should have thrown a better ball to Curtis Samuel. You did what you could with the Kincaid thing. I think that should have been caught, but yeah, man. It's just unfortunate, and it's like little small, and it's like, it sounds nitpicky, right? It's like, but you have to play a perfect game to beat the Chiefs. And then, you look at the lack of...
You don't anymore. You don't. You used to have to play a perfect game to beat the Chiefs. You don't. It doesn't even have to be perfect. You just made that many mistakes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Execution was bad. And the lack of... Keon Coleman, dog, he showed... He didn't give us anything in that game. And you need a receiver that can at least test the defense vertically. Like Xavier Worthy, man, they took advantage of our slow secondary. They just did. I mean, and Xavier Worthy did what he had to do. I mean, they tried it with Hollywood Brown. It really didn't work that way. You know, Schuster did what he needed to do. But I mean, they just it's just frustrating to see it. You know, I thought James Cook was phenomenal. I understand why they didn't, force feed him the ball. I mean, they kind of got behind for a while, and the game script kind of dictated other things.
I want people to calm down with that, though.
Right.
I mean,
right.
He got 16 touches. If Dalton Kincaid catches that ball on the 30-yard line, whatever it was, and there's a minute 50 left, and Kansas City's going to use all 3 of their timeouts to try to save clock, right? I mean, what do you think's going to he's going to get another 5-6 touches. He'll be at 20-something touches at the end of the game, and right. Everyone would be like, oh, how mmany touches do you give your main running back? 20. That's what you want. You want something around 20 touches for your guy. So I don't know. I mean, I felt like that was a little bit overblown. Their offensive game plan I thought was okay. What was really disappointing about it to me was don't leave things up in the air. Dalton Kincaid, you catch that ball on 3rd down, and his knee goes down, and he is right on that line. And I thought it was a first down, but dog, get across the fucking first down line. You know what I mean? Like it shouldn't be. Don't make it a question. Don't leave it up to a question. Get the first down, and. I've got a bunch of thoughts on it, but I just found them constantly in that situation where every time they had a chance to be the dominant, to put their foot on somebody's throat, every time they let it slip. They take the ball first. It looks awful. Josh is nervous. They throw 2 passes that could be interceptions, and you punt the ball away.
Yeah.
You let them walk right down the field on you and score. There are, I think, 2 or 3 drives where you have the ball and the lead, where you can go and extend the lead, and that's what good teams do, especially on the road, and they fail to do it every single time. You get a 2-score lead. And at the end of the day, you said you don't want to put it on Josh. I don't know if I agree with you. When we started at the beginning of the season, going into that Cardinals game, we were nervous because of the extra weight that you needed to put on Josh this season. We said the main thing that was going to make this offense go was him stirring the drink. You had 3 timeouts, 3 minutes and 30 seconds, and you're down by 3. I don't care how many bad calls there were that game. I don't care about dog.
Oh man, it's hard. It's
hard. You gotta score.
You gotta score. You gotta score.
You gotta
score. Get some help. You gotta get some help.
In my opinion, you gotta score a touchdown. That's not negotiable. Forget the bad calls. Forget everything else. That's not negotiable. If you want to be that dude. And so, I don't know, you said you don't want to put it on Josh that much. I do. That was your moment, dog, and you let it slip. And that's fine. It happens. Not everybody is a stone cold killer, but that was your spot.
But he is, and he failed. They failed. They absolutely.
Don't get me
failed.
wrong. I'd take him. You give me that same. If I could sign right now for that same exact situation next year, I'd take it.
Yeah,
I'd take it because I think more times than not he's going to get points on that drive. But you can't say it's not his fault.
Well, it's not. I mean,
dog.
When you look at what McDermott's defense gives up 32 points per game in the playoffs. I mean, dog. First of all, it's more giving credit to who Spagnuolo is and his scheme and how hard it is to
hold on.
Go ahead.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Nationally, just an average football fan. How many guys coming into the year, how many guys on our defense do you think they could name?
Who?
Just an average football fan.
Vaughn.
1, and he played 30% of the snaps this year, 25% of the snaps this year. 1. Okay? I think if you want to put this on the defense, I think that's misguided. I really do.
Well, so if so you're saying Josh gets the blame and the defense gets to walk away just scotch free.
What have we always said about the defense? That they don't make the stop when they need to. I think it wasn't you that said that to me.
Yeah, I did.
What did they do?
Oh,
tie
they
game,
were
Patrick Mahomes goes down, and what did they do?
They were brutal.
But what did they do?
Nothing.
They held him to 3.
It's just fucking They
held him to 3, Sterles.
But yeah, how many touchdowns you give them?
That's it.
4.
What else you want them to do?
They much better.
Hold them the greatest living quarterback to 3 points in the tie game in the fourth quarter of the AFC Championship.
They 4 touchdowns, bro. That's too much.
If you ask me if I want to go right back to that same situation last year, I'll take it every time. Every time. I think it's too much.
Third down defense is a joke.
Did you see who was playing corner for him?
Was a joke. Oh my God. Can we talk about something real quick? Why the hell was Christian Ben? I get it, but he obviously wasn't right.
Dude, that's so hard. Because the player's going to say he's fine the whole time.
Right. But
and if
that's
the
what
doctors,
the doctors to do.
And if the doctors clear him medically, it's getting a concussion again is a lot easier. That doesn't mean he wasn't okay. He still might have gotten a concussion in that situation in the first place. Thing is, the concussion is going to be a lot worse, and it was one of the worst we've ever seen.
Yeah, it was tough, and you can't. I don't know, man. It's like I understand, like he's going out there doing what he's engineered to do, right? Like just instinctual play football. But man, I'm just like, dude, you just had a concussion. You got to ease up on some of that stuff. You got to be a little bit more careful. But I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
The second you ask them to play anything but 100%, they're going to get hurt.
Yeah, I get it. But man, like I mean, we always knew we were one snap away from Kyrie Elam.
Yeah.
But like one snap away from Kyrie Elam looking like that.
Yeah, no, I mean, he folded under the pressure. There's no doubt about it.
My God. Like that was, he looked like a rookie.
I mean, he might as well be.
Yeah, and he's played in big time moments. And
he's got what, 8 games starting, something like that.
Yeah, but he's played against Mahomes 3 or 4 times, and
I'm just saying, like
these shallow crosses and these deep over routes, and I'm like, bro, he is getting cooked. It's just, I'm just like, dang. So that shines a fat light on the team. And then from a defensive line perspective, I'm just waiting for Greg Rousseau to make an impact play. Didn't get it. I
wasn't as disappointed with him as you were, it sounds like.
Yeah, I
haven't gone back and watched the game, but it was I don't know. I don't know, man. It's just I'm all for you wanting the defense to do better. And, there's things that could lead to that we'll talk about at the end of this podcast. But of course, the overreaction when you lost the last time in Kansas City was to go get Von Miller, right? So now let's have another overreaction that is the same exact thing, sets us back the same kind of way, and doesn't really do anything.
Are you speaking in terms of acquisitions such as a pass rusher?
But before we get there, listen, if you want to try to beef up the defense to stop Patrick Mahomes, I think if you add 3 or 4 excellent pieces, let's say you add a trade piece that's a all-pro player. Let's say you add a first-round pick at another position that is an extremely talented player, and then you assign 2 vets who are real solid players, and you add 4 pieces to that defense, okay? And we're going into the same exact spot, AFC Championship game next year in Arrowhead, okay? How many points are you going to look at Josh Allen and say, you have to score this many points to win this game?
Oh, man, it's got to be 30.
So what are we doing? What's the difference? Why are you doing all that? You're asking your offense to do the same thing. They put up 29.
I don't know at this point.
And the Chiefs put up 32. You're telling me if I add 4 pieces to that defense, he's still going to have to go put up 30?
Well, no, I say 30 because hopefully, the defense can keep them, to 23 points.
It's Patrick Mahomes. What do you mean you're going to keep him to what?
The Ravens did it last year in the AFC Championship game. They pretty much held them in check. I mean, it's doable.
Yeah, and did they win?
No.
A man scores as many points as he needs to score is the point.
Oh my God.
You can add as many pieces on defense if you want. At the end of the day, there was 3 minutes and 30 seconds and 3 timeouts. That needs to be a game-winning score every time. Every time.
But it does. It really does. And the fact that it was close enough to where you allowed the refs to dictate the game. You gotta. You spoke to this before, but you gotta put your foot on their throat and just destroy them. And that's the only way you're gonna beat them. Like you have to come out. You can't start slow. You got to come out and you got to put your foot down the throat, man. And they didn't do it.
I don't think there were any. I don't think there was any like funny business. I don't think there was any fixing or anything. I just think the refs generally suck at their jobs. We complain about them for 20 weeks a year. Like, I think the refs generally suck at their jobs, and that generally favors the home team. You know what I mean? Like, and so, yeah, I mean, I thought there were bad calls, but you can't put yourself in a situation where those things are affecting you.
Yeah, dude. So that game, clock hit 0. And I'm just like, damn, it's Groundhog Day. Like, I woke up to another Chiefs loss. And so I went to the casino after that and had some fun. Yeah, the cruise was great. I'm so glad I was on that cruise. Because if I was at home, dog, I don't know, bro. It's just disappointing. It's depressing. It's depressing. So here we are.
So I've had people come up and talk to me and be like, hey, give me a little bit of hope. And I kind of think it's really easy to do, to be honest. I mean, if we're talking big picture, I think it's pretty easy to do.
Well, I would love to hear why this is so easy. What are you talking about, man? Why is this easy? Because I think it's not as easy as you may think it is.
Okay. Amari Cooper is the what best player on your offense?
Not bringing him back.
Just answer my question. He's the 6th best player on your offense?
Yeah, that's about fair. That's about
Something
fair.
like that? Bottom half? Rasul Douglas is the what best player on your defense?
5th. 6th. He didn't play well this year.
Benford, Bernard, Milano.
Top 1. Top 4. Those guys.
So those are your 2 top free agents. Everybody else is coming back. And yes, we have to talk about how they need contracts extensions because after next year, there's a problem. And how are you going to fit all that? But that's not the point.
Right.
Hope. Everybody's coming back. Everybody's coming back. Ty Johnson might be your most valuable free agent. Mac Hollins might be your most valuable free agent. Amari Cooper probably walks. Douglas probably walks. You can find replacement level players to fill that gap. I'd love you to sign a veteran wide receiver and draft a guy and really stock that room with some weapons. But at the end of the day, your entire offensive line is coming back. And you and I both think that they might be able to upgrade it from within, from a draft and develop standpoint. If you put Van Pran Granger at center and kick McGovern back out to guard, right? Like, your running back room, I think, is set. Your tight ends are great. There was a lot of talk about Dawson Knox and his contract. I don't touch it. I probably don't touch it at all.
Yeah, you can't at this point.
I don't do anything to that. I'd like to see you add to the wide receiver room, but your offense is everybody's back. And then on defense, listen, you want to remake the defensive line. We're going to have to talk about that. But I think you can go find better starters at safety. Do you need to? No, I don't think you need to.
Well, at one, I mean, Hamlin, he's a free agent, so yeah, I'm not bringing him back. No, Rap and Bishop, I'm good with, but I definitely would like a hedge there for sure. And
Sure.
you can draft a guy, right, or you can get a veteran safety.
I want a hedge there as much for Rap's injury history as I do for Cole Bishop.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
right.
At corner, yeah, you got to find a second corner,
CB2 and another veteran to back that up, right?
You have the harder one of the two, which is the top starting corner.
Right.
You've got the number one guy, so you need a number two corner. Guys like Travarius Ward are out there. You know what I mean? Like, there's some names, but same thing. If you draft a corner, fine. I think you're set at linebacker. Dorian has made me feel a lot better about him playing in any situation. You know that he went from a liability in a lot of different ways to just solid, I would say. I don't think he's a game changer, but if he has to step in at any point for either of those guys, I feel comfortable doing that.
Yeah.
So then we get to the big question, which is the defensive line, but it's like, you know, if you want hope, I think the hope is this was a team that during that game and over the course of the season looked better than the Kansas City Chiefs. And there's no way they can be as lucky as they were 2 years in a row. So if that game is in Buffalo next year, how different is it? Who knows?
Yeah, right.
But I just think all your major pieces, your best players are coming back.
Yeah. I mean, the roster is okay. It's a good roster. You got guys coming in there second. Yeah, I mean, defensively, I think it's okay. I think there's some meat left on the bone. It has to be better. I think the coaching has to be better from Bobby Babbitt's standpoint. Bobby Babbage, McDermott, however you want to look at that. Yeah, it needs to be better.
Two guys going into their second years as play callers with this team, at least. Brady's been a play caller before, but Babbage hasn't been. It's hard not to think that that's not going to benefit the team a little bit.
I mean, you want to hope that that's the case, and you know how much hand did McDermott have in there and influence, and you know, so yeah. I mean, I think time on task is always a good thing in that regard. But from a personnel standpoint, I mean, let's talk about it. You got to upgrade corner. I think you need to, you know.
Do you have to upgrade if you re-sign Rasul?
That is not a question for me. I'm not re-signing him. I'm just not.
Even if it's
he ain't taking a minimum contract. He ain't doing that.
I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure.
I can't. No, I'm just not. I got to move on. I got to try something else. I got to.
He's a solid second corner, in my opinion. I think you could do a lot worse. And I think
you could.
When you're talking about how much money you're going to have to pay Benford to find a veteran to come in to play better than Sewell, I think is going to be too expensive.
You got to get more athletic at the position.
I mean, that's a draft pick is what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm referring to. Like, if
you do that, I kind of want you to hedge with Sewell. You know what I mean? If you're going the draft pick route, I kind of want you to, and if it's not Sewell, I want you to bring in someone
similar, but it's cheaper, right? Like you're going to have to find a solid, you know, like for instance, Stephon Gilmore would have been great in that position. Right. But, you know, I'm not sure how much he was paid, maybe 10 mil this year or something like that. But somebody like that, you know, to either to compete with the rookie or, you know, kind of figure that out. But yeah, you got to get more athletic at corner. And Christian Benford has an injury history. So does Taylor Rapp. I mean, I think not having Rapp in that game really hurt that defense big time, because they were a little bit more soft on the back end. You know, because of that, right? And I just, man, it's like we get into these high leverage moments and we always have injuries on defense, man. It's crazy. It's the NFL, people get injured. Like, I get it, but damn, like, can we just be all the way healthy, you know, when you play the Chiefs? And I guess it's just not in the cards, or wasn't in the cards this year and hasn't been in the past. So Yeah, those are some areas that I look at. And then the whole defensive line, and Russo, I think we're at a point to where he is what he is. He's a very good edge rusher, but he's not going to influence game. He's not going to
Good run
move the
defender
needle.
too.
Huh?
Good run defender too.
Yeah. He's just very solid, right? Russo is what we wanted Epinesa to be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's okay. But paying him $25 million a season, I don't know about that. I just don't know about that.
I don't think his output has called for that. Like, if he goes and hits the free agent market, I don't think he's getting 25 million. You know what
Somebody's gonna pay. Somebody will pay that.
No, not that much.
Watch. I'm telling you.
I'd be surprised. I'd be surprised.
I'm telling you, dude.
I don't think
pass rush is a
put up
premium.
the kind of stats to warrant that kind of contract. And I think because of that, you can get him early to sign a deal that is team friendly.
Well, and I wonder what the messaging is from his agent and the discussions that they're going to have this offseason, because he is coming into that fifth-year option. I think he's owed $13 million this season.
Yeah.
And I know Bean's probably thinking, hey, let me try to get a sweet, Spencer Brown deal going on, or Dawson Knox deal going on, and get him under contract for 18. And if you can get him for that, perfect. Because you can kick that, that signing bonus, you can finagle that signing bonus to where his cap hit isn't that much this season. That'd be phenomenal. I would love to see that. But if he's talking about, up 20 something odd million a year, I think that's too rich for the Bills' blood for his production's sake. And then you look at Daquan Jones. Bruh, sorry. 16 million. For two, no, I just don't think that was worth. He didn't really impress me this year. Ed Oliver had moments toward the end. You saw him kind of, come alive at the end, and I appreciate that. But where was that early in the season? I mean, and then you got Epinesa, who, for what they brought him back for, I mean, to me, it's a bust of a pick. I mean, you get drafted high second round, and you really haven't done anything. So
Daquan is top 10 in your cap hits for next season.
Yeah.
But his cap hit is only $9 million, 9.4. His dead cap is 7.6. So you save what, 1.8 by cutting him?
I know he's on the team next year.
Yeah. And listen, it's not unheard of for older defensive linemen to still dominate and find a second win.
Mm-hmm.
He's only 34.
Only 34
for interior defensive line.
Tackles, yeah, they tend to last a while.
34 is, I'm not. I still think he should be able to play, but who knows? Maybe he is washed. I don't know.
I mean, he's like I think he's a good, solid number 3D tackle. Right? Like a rotational piece. I don't think he's starter worthy. He didn't play like that this season.
So as I'm going down the list here, and I don't know. I mean, they might cut Vaughn, but he's the amount that they're paying him to replace him. He's a decent situational pass rusher. And after you take his dead cap and then go get another salary on top of it, it's going to be basically the same as having Von Miller.
Yeah, and you definitely, for what they're going to pay him, you definitely need more impact. But I mean, Von's an older pass rusher and he had the knee injury, so he is what he is at this point. I mean, I would be okay with cutting Von after June 1st. Depending on what yeah, I would definitely be. I'm good with it. Like, Von, thank you, but no thanks. Like, for me, I'm there's some places on this roster I'm just gutting, and I'd rather roll the dice with a rookie, because I mean, if you're telling me that that's the output that I get in the postseason, I'd rather. I mean, I just gut it. Like, they've been doing this for the past 4 or 5 seasons. I mean, they put so many resources into the defensive line. And you're not this McDermott defense, for it to be successful, you got to be able to rush 4 and wreak havoc up front and then everybody else behind you plays better. And if you can't do that, with this style of defense, you're playing at a disadvantage.
Dwayne Smoot's a free agent. I really liked how he played this year, to be honest with you. If you could get him to come back for a depth guy, I'd probably be in favor of that. But I mean, I'm looking at your list here, and 4 of your top 10, 4 of your top 8 are defensive linemen. Von Miller's your second biggest cap hit, and Oliver's your third biggest cap hit. Greg Rousseau's your 7th biggest cap hit, and Daquan Jones your 8th biggest cap hit.
Yeah.
This is not a conversation we should be having about a unit that has 4 guys in the top 8 of your cap hits. That's what's disappointing about it.
Yeah, it's wildly ineffective.
And so, like, I don't know who the Aaron Cromer is of defensive line coaches, but it, like, I know staffs are starting to get settled. That pretty much settled at this point.
Yeah.
But I don't think you can have that kind of output from a unit that makes that big a percentage of your cap. And if you're making changes, I just think you need to be really wary about how much money you put into that defense line that you tie up for future years. Because what you're doing right now is you're reaping what you sow for that Von Miller deal you went and got.
Yeah.
Right? He's your second biggest cap hit at $23 million a year. Only Josh Allen is a bigger cap hit. And
what are you getting from it, dog? That is a large amount of money for.
So if you go and get somebody and they have the same kind of thing that you had with Von Miller, 5 years from now, you're going to be doing the same exact thing that you're doing with Von Miller.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I would definitely want more production, but let's talk about, okay, so let's talk about defensive line, and that, that's kind of where, we aim for the show tonight.
I pushed you 40 minutes deep before we got there.
Yeah, you did. No, it's good because I needed to flesh some of that out, I love the idea of going for a elite pass rusher like a Max Crosby, Myles Garrett, who requested a trade yesterday. I'd be okay with that. And for those of you watching the show, you've heard the trade packages that people have been floating around and stuff like that. I'm all good with that, but I do think you got to keep trying. You got to keep kicking the can down the road with this defensive line to figure it out, because that's the missing piece. I'm good. If you told me that you're not bringing in another wide receiver, you're going to go draft a receiver, but you're not bringing in a veteran, I'm cool with that. Like, I feel like Curtis Samuel can be a difference maker to an extent, and you keep rolling with Shakir and the cast of characters, Keon Coleman in the second year, I would be okay with that. But if you told me, hey, man, we're rolling with the same defensive line, oh, God, no. There's no way. So I do think that getting a Myles Garrett or Crosby, I think you got to figure that out. Whatever that cost is, let's see what these teams are asking for. I mean, it's not going to be a pretty penny. I mean, it's not going to be cheap, but I think it's something that you got to do.
I mean, it's worth looking into, of course. I think most teams should be looking into it. I think teams that are more likely to go after something like that are like the Commanders or the Broncos, where you dead red have a rookie, I almost said freshman, have a rookie quarterback contract for the next 5 years. And so if you need to pile on some money and a couple extra years for one of those guys, not a big deal. That being said, yeah, I mean, here's kind of where I land.
It sounds like you got a lot of reservations about getting a high-end, high-ticket pass rusher.
Depending on the guy.
Okay. So let's start with this. Max Crosby, 26, 27 years old. What do you think?
See, that I love. And it's partially to do with age. It's partially to do with his demeanor and his mindset. He is an effort guy. nobody would ever question that. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
he is 100% motor.
Okay.
And that means that even in the games where he's not effective, I know I'm going to be getting 100% out of him.
Okay.
And that kind of thing can unlock the other guy, which is going to be Groot, right? Like, that kind of effort is contagious. And not that I feel like Groot has had trouble with effort, but if he's eating up two blockers every time because he's just a pain in the ass, what's Rousseau getting? What's Ed Oliver getting, right? Like, you should be creating opportunities for your other guys.
Okay, I got another one for you. Trey Hendrickson.
I would love that. How old is he?
He's got to be about 28. If I'm not mistaken. Let's see, I'll tell you. Trey Hendrickson. How old is this man? This man he's 30. God dang.
Yeah, it's too much. It's too old for me.
Now, are you saying that just because of the whole Vaughn thing?
Oh, no.
Because pass rushers play well into their mid-30s and are effective.
I wouldn't say well into their mid-30s. But okay. That's fine. I see where you're coming from. No, I'd want to stay away from, because whoever you get is going to want another deal, right?
Yeah, but guess what? Like, I think if a Trey Hendrickson deal or trade package, I don't think you're mortgaging the future as much as if you were Myles Garrett per se, right? I think that price tag's a little cheaper. Trey Hendrickson. I'll give you another one. Let's talk about Dallas Cowboys pass rusher Micah Parsons, who the Cowboys are kind of in a pickle. They haven't
first round picks for him.
Okay, yeah. So you're talking about what is he, 25, 26 years old?
If that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and he needs a new deal. The Cowboys got a lot of stuff going on in that organization.
There's no way they trade Micah Parsons.
Dude, they traded Luka.
He is
hurting my heart.
And I think, honestly, not that, that's actually related, but if we are going to talk about that, like, if anything, that's going to stop Jerry from doing something like that.
Jerry's that guy. He probably don't even know Lucas traded.
The man is 25 years old. He turns 26 in May. I mean, that is because then you give him a 6-year deal. I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't care.
So for you, it sounds like you're okay with leveraging resources, but you want that peace of mind long term. Like, it's not just a 3-year Anthony Davis deal kind of thing. You're looking at 5-6 years down the road.
So Diana Rossini put out a tweet that said, I see all these people saying 3 first rounds for Myles Garrett. That's not what it's going to be. It's going to be a 1 and a player and some change, or a 1 and 2 and a 2 and change, or a 1 or a couple 2s and a 3 and some change. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think, maybe it gets into a bidding war, but the reports I've seen have said that it's not going to be crazy.
Okay.
So if you're talking about a single I don't want you to get into a Stephon Diggs situation, right?
All right.
Where the next year you're still paying off your debt. So if you're telling me you're going to give up this year's first and a second next year and some change, fine. Because that doesn't really hurt your ability to build for this next window. Mm-hmm. But you are at the start of a window here. And you're going to have to pick which of these guys, these young guys who you drafted, who have been successful, Benford, Bernard, Shakir, Cook. You're going to have to pick which of these guys you give extensions to, and then you're going to have to backfill with other draft picks.
Yeah, and that's going to be hard because we talked early in the offseason last year, like there's got to be a casualty because you can't bring them all back. There's no way from a cap perspective what these guys are going to be wanting that you're going to be able to bring back Khalil Shakir, James Cook, Terrell Bernard. Christian Benford. Like somebody's not making the cut. And I say you can get 3 of these guys, but all 4, I think that's hard pressed. Now, again, there's some, roster manipulation. You can kind of, finagle the money a little bit, but the Bills have kind of kicked the can down the road, and this team that had so much money in dead cap space this year. So it's like, okay, so I mean, I have an idea, like for me, and I know this is probably unpopular right now, but I'm not paying a running back another contract. I'm just not, and I love James Cook, but I can't give him another contract. Hell no. And matter of fact, if it was up to me, and I'm not a GM, obviously y'all know that, but I trade him. I trade him this offseason and get something for him, because I can go get Travion Henderson right now. That's, to me, better than James Cook. He's a better pass blocker. He's a better receiver out of the field. I mean, you're not losing much. You're not losing much bringing in Travion Henderson.
Listen, I think he's done a good job of the modern day answer to the running back position.
Mm-hmm.
Every couple of years, 2nd or 3rd round pick.
There's always another one.
Devin Singletary, Zach Moss, James Cook, Ray Davis. It's the smart way to do it, in my opinion, nowadays, because there are tons of guys with talent. They are available in 2nd and 3rd and 4th rounds, and it just shouldn't eat up some of your cap. I think he's done it the right way.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So you're in agreement with me on that.
Yeah, but I don't think I'd trade him.
So you're saying you let him, because if you let him play out this season, you lose him. You lose him after this next season. So you're saying let him play out his contract and hit free agency and do what he's got to do. Unless
you're going to bring in a major piece. So if you're telling me that a Max Crosby deal is James Cook, a 1st and a 2nd or 3rd.
And that's what I'm getting to.
Then fine.
That's what I'm getting to.
Yeah,
right?
that I'm fine with. But I'm not trading James Cook just to make sure I get value for him.
I mean, listen, if you don't put him in a package for a pass rusher, I still think you can get a 2nd or 3rd round pick out of him.
But I don't want that. That's what I'm saying. It's not.
I would take that, and I'm saying that I would take that deal because I know the caliber of running backs coming out right now in this draft, and I'd be okay with that.
Draft one. I think you should still draft one. I don't think you should pay Ty Johnson. I think you should let him go. I love him, but I don't think you should pay him.
I agree with that too. I agree with that too.
I think you draft a guy in this draft in the 3rd round or the 4th round, and you let Ray Davis get another year under his belt. But I think what James Cook is going to give this team next season is worth more than a 3rd round draft pick.
Yeah. And we're going to we'll get more into position by position as we go along this offseason, but we're talking about defensive end. So let's look to the draft. You've heard me say it this summer. I said, hey, dude, the defensive end, I've been pounding the table that the Bills go defensive end for a long time, okay? And this is the strength of the draft right here, defensive end. And I can tell you there's probably, I don't know, 8 to 10 good defensive ends that are going to come out this year. Now, I don't know the potential of them all, but I can tell you, there's probably 4 that I think are going to be pretty good, right? So Abdul Carter is the best defensive end in this draft. You're not going to be able to get him because he's going to go top 3, top 5, right? James Pierce, guy out of Tennessee, very Von Miller-esque in terms of build and the way they attack the, offensive tackles and stuff. I think he's probably in your 10 to 15 range, right? Michael Williams. I mean, I can go on and on.
This is what worries me, though. Mm-hmm. So I'll let you keep going, but I just want to make a note that the 2nd guy off your board you don't think is a top 20 player?
Yeah, I do. James Pierce. Yeah, he's like I said, he's where he'll get drafted. I think he's a top 10 overall talent. But I think he'll get drafted in the 10 to 15 range.
So a guy I trust, Jeff Flagwell, does a lot of draft grades, says in a normal year, you get max 20 first round grades, like real first round grades, right?
Not this year.
And that's what he said. He said this year it's like 10.
10,
Yeah. He's
12.
like, this year it's like 10 first round grades. And so what you're telling me is, and like this is the world the Bills have to live in, but this is what they did with wide receiver last year.
Mm-hmm.
They took the best of the rest, right? You went to that next tier down, and these guys are guys who really have second round grades. And so this Pierce kid, I mean, I don't know, does he have a true first round grade for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I James Pierce he's legit, man. He's really good.
So you got two guys who are true first round talents, and the Bills aren't going to get either of them, right? So then you're talking about just like grab bag guys who are second round talents.
Yeah, and my point of bringing that up is that you're going to have to. So if the Bills do nothing in terms of trading for the draft, right, or getting a defensive end, you got 3 picks, okay, in the top two in the top 2 rounds. You got 3 picks, okay, 1 first, 2 seconds. If you don't do anything, 2 of those picks have to be defensive line. Just has to be. And that what I'm saying is, you don't agree with that?
I don't know if I agree with that.
Okay, well, listen. If at the way it plays out, let's say the Bills strike out and they don't get one of those pass rushers, I do feel like you have to get better at defensive end, defensive tackle. So if you want to go, okay, let's say you go get Mykel Williams, right? Edge out of Georgia, or Shamar Stewart. These are guys that I think Jack Sawyer. I'd even throw in a Landon Jackson or one of these guys, right? Like, if you go get one of those guys, you better think, oh yeah, like they did with Greg Rousseau and Boogie Basham, you better go get another one within the one of those next 2 picks you have, because you got to hit on at least one of them. You got to. Both. You need to hit on both, obviously, but you have to hit on one of them, or we're going to be talking about the same shit next year in the playoffs, right? So you can either go get yourself an elite pass rusher through free agency or making a trade, or you can. I'm cool if you stick with the draft and say, hey, we're going to draft to develop, but you got to hit. And I don't know if they think that they can do that right now.
My big problem with them with draft and develop has been that even though that's what they've said they want to do and have done and done well, every year in the first round, they chase after a need.
They do.
Every year.
They do.
And I can't even say sometimes I haven't agreed with them. Last year, I thought they needed to draft a wide receiver.
Yeah.
But how has that turned out?
But that doesn't mean you stop trying.
Kyer Elam, Keon Coleman, these are guys that you drafted because you needed somebody at that position. And here we are talking about how disappointing they are. And why do you find yourself in that situation? Because you keep drafting for need instead of drafting the best player that's still there. When you are this late in the round, you have to just pick the best guy there.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely right.
I was looking at this 22 draft because we were talking about how these guys all have extensions coming up.
Mm-hmm.
This might be the best draft where you miss on the first round pick. It's Kyer Elam in the first, James Cook in the second, Terrell Bernard in the third, Khalil Shakir in the fifth, Matt Araiza in the sixth, which for all his problems, he'll be punting in the Super Bowl on Sunday. Luke Tenuta is the only miss in the entire draft. Oh, I'm sorry. Christian Benford was before Luke Tenuta.
Mm-hmm.
So Christian Benford, Luke Tenuta was the only miss. Balin Spector was a 7th round pick. It might be the best draft where you burn a first round pick. And why did you do that? I mean, they clearly had this draft figured out. They clearly were zeroed in on the talent. They knew what they were doing. They trusted their board. But what did they do? Why is the first round pick burned?
Whiffed.
Why did they burn it? Because they were chasing. Because they were chasing a cornerback. They thought they needed cornerback, and they were chasing a guy.
Yeah.
That drives me crazy.
I know. And that's how they draft. I mean, that's the Bills' MO right there. You know,
But if you look, like, I feel like that is a lot of their drafts are like that, and it's because as they get later in the rounds, they just trust their board and pick guys that
you want to know a GM that doesn't chase? It's Howie Roseman.
Right? Exactly.
They do not chase. They take the best player, and the fruits of the labor. Well, you're going to see it on Sunday. But yeah, and you talk about corner. I don't have a lot of. I think there's some okay corners. Like, if you talk about, I think there's probably 3 corners that'll probably get drafted in the first round, right? And after Will Johnson as a second corner, I mean, you can Jahdae Brown probably is who I'd probably go with after that. But
go find me a guy from North Dakota State, dog. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
go find me Christian Benford, right?
I just don't think he's in this draft. He's not in this draft. I mean,
okay,
yeah, and that's the problem. He's not in this draft.
Well, then you're gonna have to pay somebody there, which means I definitely don't think you should pay somebody out D-line.
So, I mean, this is what you run into, right?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm hesitant to say that they should draft anything. That D-line, you're saying it didn't wreck the game. I'm saying they didn't lose the game either. I really don't think it did.
Well, it's got to be better though. For the style of defense that they play, you have
the game. Because I have a very distinct.
I'll tell you the defense.
No, but who?
The defense is defensive line.
Like, I have one very distinct.
If defensive line can get home, that lessens the amount of time that receivers have.
Patrick Mahomes was making one read, dog. He was not. He was not reading the field out. He was finding Kaiir Elam and throwing the ball wherever he was to whoever he was guarding.
Oh, man.
Hollywood Brown made him look stupid.
Dog, were you watching that?
Xavier Worthy made him look stupid.
Were you looking at Kaiir and going, dog, what the fuck are you doing?
I seriously thought to myself, like, I don't know, put Ingram in. I don't know, something. Anyone?
There is no way that they let that man come back in the building. Take his key card. He's done.
If you're telling me the one thing that you need to do, blah, 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 is draft a defensive lineman, I don't believe it. I just don't believe it.
So what do you got the first, you got your round 1 pick 30. What the hell are you doing? What are you going to do?
You know what I'm doing. You know what I'm doing.
I don't know who. You're not getting Travis Hunter. So what are you doing?
You know what I'm doing.
No, I don't. What are you doing?
By the way, I do think we should do this at some point where we go through and do like mock drafts and you be the head scout and I'll be the GM.
Okay.
And we'll just go through and that's how we'll make decisions. I think that'd be fun.
That's gonna be fun.
But I'm doing the same thing Bean did when he needed a quarterback. I'm trading David Edwards for a 5th, and I'm trading James Cook for a 2nd, and I'm sending a 1st, 3 seconds, 2 4ths, and next year's 1st to somebody for Travis Hunter. I don't care what it costs.
Yeah, it's not real. So try again. You're not getting them. You're not getting them.
You have to get closer. But if you're
not getting
the same way he did with the Browns and getting Josh Allen, it's totally possible for him to start climbing his way up that board by making swaps and trades and to get in range for him. Yeah, absolutely.
I know that's what your heart's desire is, and
you asked me what I would do.
I know, but realistically,
you didn't ask me what was going to happen. You asked me what I would do with the 30th pick, and that is what I would do with the 30th
and
pick.
I appreciate that, but that's not
He's
happening.
a guy who fills 2 positions for you. Yes, I know he's top 5. I know he's going in the top 5. He's probably going in the top 3. He might be going in the top 1, depending on what the Titans think about him. They've said they're not going to pass on a generational talent. So he might be going top 1. Who knows? But I think, now let's be honest, Stross. So that is how I feel about it. I would do everything I could to get up into the top 5 and take him.
Fair. I mean,
because he solves 2 problems for you. He solves a wide receiver problem for you, and he solves a corner problem for you. And maybe not right away, but long term, if he's a second corner and a third wide receiver, that saves you a whole lot of money on your cap.
Yeah.
So it'd be real nice if he was even a second corner and a fourth wide receiver, right? Like he saves you a lot of money on the cap with one guy playing 2 positions if he can handle it. That being said,
hey, Ian says 2 firsts, a second, the firstborn child in the D tier house with Travis Hunter.
Done. I only have to give up 2 firsts. I only got my house isn't that much paid off, dog. Like it's a condo, and I'll gladly give it up for Travis Hunter to Buffalo. Not to mention that in the McDermott Babbage scheme, he would eat on defense. He would absolutely crush a cornerback in this scheme. And you can make plays for him on offense. But again, I digress. Here's what I do think, though. And I'm not as sure about it this year because like we just talked about, there's only 10 to 15 true first round grades in this draft. But if you have a guy that you believe in, and I do trust Bean in this scouting department, if they have a guy that they believe in that's a difference maker, I want you to go up to 12 to get him. You know what I mean? Like, I want you to make a big move because what is the big problem on this team overall?
You got to have more difference makers.
Right. We can break down, is it the defensive line? Is it cornerback? Is it wide receiver? Whatever. But at the end of the day, there's not enough blue chip players.
Right.
And if you keep drafting at 30, it's hard to find a blue. They exist. You can get them. But it's hard to find a blue chip player that late in the round. So what do I really want them to do? What would I do? I'd start finding ways to trade pieces that are not as important. Like you have a plethora of good offensive linemen right now. You really do. If you start swapping out pieces of that, I'm not necessarily concerned about it. So if you do that to move up 7 spots, and then you trade a second round pick to move up 12 spots, and all of a sudden you're at 10, and you draft whoever the 10th best player is just to get another impact guy on the team. Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of moves that I would be looking to make.
Yeah, I mean, hell, they've done a really good job. I mean, outside of their like round 1 selections, they've done a really good job drafting. But you're at a place now to where you at some point you got to stop bargain shopping. You know, you have to either have to play big. You got to play chess or Texas Hold'em or something where you're leveraging. You make some trades to get veteran, proven, top-notch blue chippers, or you go to the draft and you do what you got to do to get up in the top 10 and start making some hay. But one of those two, those are the only 2 solutions that I think are deemed necessary. And you got to do one of them. And I hope that they don't just sit there and then think they're going to get somebody at 30, because the odds of that, it's doable, but it's slim, man. Like,
but I don't mind. I don't mind if they want to push that off one more year, making those big swings and start selling draft picks. If you want to get one more full draft class in here and really load up this roster from 1 to 53 and then go less need, fuck them picks on it, like, fine. But then in the middle of the season next year, you better be trading first for blue chippers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, the NFL has this weird sickness where it overvalues draft picks. And part of that is because like the cap is what it is. You know what I mean? It's going to restrict you from doing certain things. And those draft picks are freedom. But that's why the Rams were able to do what they did. You know what I mean? Because the picks were so valuable. But, you know, the Broncos traded Von Miller for like a 2nd and a 5th or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, Brandon Marshall a couple of years ago got traded for like 2 3s, I think it was. go make deals like that. And if you don't want to do it with this draft, you want to put in one more full draft class, that's fine. But now we're into this second window of Josh Allen's career, and you've got to find ways to get blue chippers back on this team while you have a base of good players for him to play with. And that's what you have right now. You got a solid team. You got a base of good players.
And to your point, I mean, let's keep in mind that the Bills are going to be opening up a brand new stadium, right? So if you want to kick this down the road a year, that's probably the best time to do it, because you're going to have a new stadium. You're going to need to sell the licenses and the tickets and all that stuff. Like, that'd be smart. But at the same time, I mean, you gotta, both worlds can exist. You can do both and still be effective. It's just,
at some point you got to find out.
Yep.
You got to find a way to get blue chippers, whether that is trading up in the draft or trading picks and assets for blue chip players. You've got to figure out. Josh Allen cannot be. I mean, the Patriots did it for years, right? And it was amazing Seymour how they did.
And I mean, they
Tom Brady was their only blue chip player for so long. But what did they do? They went and found him guys like Randy Moss, right? Who can you pick off the scrap heap right now that needs somewhere else to go?
Yeah, give me T. Higgins. Right. Well,
I think that's a little bit too high profile.
But
I'm not saying that I want this. So I'm going to couch it with that. But what you need to do is you need to find the George Pickens of the world, right? You need to find the Moore in Chicago, right? You need to find the guys who are not happy where they are and maybe a little bit of a problem and roll the dice to try to get blue chip talent in here and hope that a good room and a good quarterback and a good coach can hold it all together, because you need blue chip talent.
You know who would be a great acquisition? Jameson Williams from Detroit. Like, I would call the Lions and say, hey, he'll never be a number one in that system because it features Amon-Ra St. Brown and Laporta and Gibbs. Like, talk to me about Jameson. What third round? I mean, third and a second. Third and, I mean, whatever. I would make that call. Just think, Jameson Williams in this offense, bro. The explosiveness.
Well, it's taking the top off the defense that you definitely need, right? We've talked about that a lot. How you're lacking that guy. But yeah, that's a good team who's not in any cap trouble quite yet.
But the Bills come and due, and they know it. That Bills come and due, so they got to figure it out.
They've done a pretty good job of staggering it. Listen, they're gonna have to pay Aiden here soon. It's coming, but I'm talking more. Who are the teams that are on that downward trend? Garrett Wilson, that's the name that comes to mind. How about that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think
John in our chat is saying, "How about Godwin?" Like, no, too old.
No, he's too old.
He's too old, right? Like, I want you thinking about these guys who are incredible talents, who are frustrated and want out. And like, if Aaron Rodgers doesn't come back next year and Garrett Wilson doesn't get along with Aaron Glenn, like
they're already talking. He's already talking about. He's already said stuff about wanting to trade. So
those are the type of guys I want you. I don't want you to trade for Devontae Adams. I want you to trade for Garrett Wilson or somebody who's the second wide receiver in Minnesota, Addison.
Yeah, Jordan Addison.
Right? Like, they're not going to be able to pay him. They just gave a buttload of money to Justin Jefferson. So can you go get a guy like Jordan Addison? Like, those are the young guys who just maybe don't fit where they are right now,
Yeah. That would be nice. But yeah, I mean, it's those caliber types of moves that I think this team has to explore. I mean, you got to. But
here's the thing. Every time, and sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
You just ding something in my head when you said that. Every time I've had a discussion like that about Brandon Beane, he's done something.
Yeah.
He's done something. He went and got Diggs. He went and got Miller. Like, every time I've had a discussion like, hey, listen, you've got a real good team now. You're in the window. You're at the door. You're whatever analogy you want to use. You need to make a big move. You need to take a big swing here. Every time he's done it.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna lie to you. You kind of ruined me.
Who, Bean?
Yeah, you.
What'd I do?
You kind of ruined me.
How's that? I ain't do nothing.
Because I can sit here and listen to people talk about Myles Garrett and not be excited about it and be okay with the fact that they never do anything. I don't care if they don't make an offer for Trey Hendrickson. Max Crosby I like a lot, but he's
well,
how dare you bring up Micah Parsons?
Yeah.
That was a name that wasn't even on my fucking radar, and it's going to haunt me for the entire offseason now.
But that's where you're at. I mean, that's where you're at. And so it's like the purpose of tonight's discussion was, okay, like I know everybody wants Myles Garrett and those guys, but man, there are other ways that you can build this roster effectively, more cheaply, in a sense, right? Like it's going to cost you, but you don't have to sit at 30. Like I think you for defensively in this draft. Hell, I mean, I think there's a couple receivers like Emeka Egbuka that would do really well in this offense. You can make some hay. Like it's not just going to get a top flight pass rusher, which you definitely need. There's a couple defensive tackles in this draft that are really good. Like there's about 4 of them guys. So dog, I mean, it's a perfect storm in terms of what the Bills need, right? In the draft wise to what they can get.
Come on. Come on. Perfect storm.
Yeah. I mean, they need help on defensive line. So you got defensive tackle heavy and defensive end heavy. Like you can,
You keep saying they need help on defensive line. And
bro, they do.
Right back to what lost them the game.
Defensive line.
No.
Yes.
No. Listen, the 2
Kyrie
starting corners that you had out there, I shouldn't say starting, the 2 corners that played the majority of the snaps for you in that game will not be back next year. You need a corner.
They need, that too. But
so stop saying they need defensive line.
I'm not going to stop because it's true. You watch.
I'm just telling you,
Bean is either trading for one of these big tickets,
and here's the other thing:
drafting them.
Here's the other thing: if I'd rather them patchwork at safety, to be honest. But all right, 2025 free agent cornerbacks: DJ Reed, Charvarius Ward,
okay,
Rasul Douglas, Asante Samuel Jr. I like
depends
that.
on how much.
I like that. I don't hate that idea. Brandon Stevens, Carlton Davis. Now you're getting into names. Byron Murphy.
Carlton Davis is such a McDermott corner.
Ugh. I would not love that.
I know.
Mike Hilton, Paulson Adebo, Dante Jackson.
Adebo, no.
And there's your guy, Stephon Gilmore.
Bring him back as a cheap CB2. I'd do that.
If you're drafting one, that's fine with me.
Right. You have to draft. You can you get a mid-round pick and get
not mid-round.
Dog.
It's got to be one of those top 3. And that's why I disagree that they got to double dip with D-line for those first 3.
My guy.
I think they got to go. I think of those 3 picks, you got to end up with a defensive lineman, a cornerback, and a wide receiver.
Man, they don't like drafting wide receivers.
They need to.
Nah, I say draft one every year. But they love that defense. That's why I'm right too. I'm right. I'm right.
About what?
On the defensive line point, like in terms of that's where Bean's gonna make his focus. Like if it ain't a blue chipper that you trade for, that draft and first 3 picks, 2 of them bad boys are gonna be on defensive line. I guarantee it. Here's the thing:
D-line to me is like if I'm trading for a guy who's that old, right? Like let's talk about Myles Garrett or something like that. If I'm trading for a guy that's that old, I don't want to give him a contract.
I know you don't want to give him anything.
Here are the names that are free agents this year at edge. Matthew Judon.
Yeah.
Josh Sweat.
I like Josh Sweat. You gotta have to pay that man though.
Okay. I'd rather pay him than pay Myles Garrett and give up picks for him.
Nah, bruh.
And give up assets? Or
Myles
just
Garrett is that guy.
sign Josh Sweat to the same deal. They both get the same exact contract.
Bro, you have so with Rousseau, him and Josh Sweat are very similar.
Okay. Two real good defensive linemen.
I need
Guess how old he is. Go ahead.
He's 25. 27, okay. Yeah, he'd be nice.
I'd rather give him the same exact deal as Myles Garrett.
No.
And have it end when he's 31 rather than when he's 36.
Josh Sweat's good. Who else?
Khalil Mack.
What's he asking for? I mean, him and Vaughn are the same to me.
Question.
Him and Vaughn are the same to me.
I don't disagree with that. Hassan Reddick. Chase Young.
Nope.
Baron Browning.
Depends on how much. He's
Azeez Ojulari.
If you can get him on a cheap deal. He's
Emmanuel
got some.
Ogba.
Nope.
Josh Uche.
Nope.
Yeah, I'm not super moved by any of these names now as we're getting further down. All right, let's look at DJ Jones, I would like. Interior.
Yeah.
Osa Digizua.
Yeah, I'll take him.
Levi Onwuzurike.
I like that.
BJ Hill.
Definitely.
I'd even sign Calais Campbell. He's on this.
I would sign him just out of this, just because. I mean,
Javon
Kinlaw.
Puna Ford's a free agent again,
bro. He will not sign here. That man will not sign here.
But interior defensive line, there's like 5 or 6 names already that I'm
interested in for sure.
Yeah. And you want to spend first round draft picks on that?
Yes.
Okay. How dare you say Micah Parsons? It's going to haunt me now all offseason.
Well, it should haunt you. You should stay up all night and thinking about it.
Last point of hope. I had pulled this up, so I want to say this to you.
Okay.
What looks to be, because you never really know next season, but what looks to be the Bills' 4 hardest games next year, all at home.
Don't care.
I want you to hear these opponents. Have you looked at this?
No, I have not.
Okay. You got AFC East home and away, obviously. You got at home, Bucks, Eagles, Saints, Chiefs, Bengals, Ravens.
Ooh.
It's tough.
Hmm.
But all at home. Here's your away schedule. Falcons, Panthers, Browns, Texans, Steelers.
All dubs.
You might go undefeated on the road next year.
Yeah. You got to get the number 1 seed.
It's there for you, because not only do you play all the other teams who I think will be in the running for the number 1 seed, Baltimore, Cincinnati, Kansas City, but you play them all at home.
Yeah.
And your road schedule is whatever. Texans is your hardest road game. Maybe Falcons.
Yeah.
Maybe Steelers.
That's easy money. Now you should beat them.
You feel better now?
I do feel better. I feel better. I can have a conversation at work about the Bills. Or wherever.
The guys are coming back. The whole team is coming back. Everybody that matters is coming back.
Yeah, just make some moves. Brandon Bean, just make some hard, fast moves and let's go.
Travis Hunter.
Dude, yeah, go get him if you can.
Top 3.
But they're not. But yeah.
Top 3, get up there.
Ain't no fucking way. Ain't no way, dog. Ain't no way. If the Bills trade up for Travis Hunter, I will buy you the jersey. I will buy you whichever Travis Hunter Bills jersey you want.
I'm too fat to wear jerseys, especially when it's going to be number 12. It's going to look real bad on me. Oh, it can't be 12.
Right.
What's he going to wear?
2?
Yeah, I guess probably. Maybe 1.
Yeah.
But
Deal?
but yeah, I'm too fat for jerseys, but I'll take it anyway.
Yeah, I can order the jersey, put it in a shadow box for you, and you can hang it up on your wall.
I'll tell you what, you can give me the one with the Super Bowl patch next year.
Done. Virtual handshake. Got it. I got it. All right, but it ain't happening, so I don't have to spend that money. So on to the next. Onward and upward, as they say.
We'll see.
Well, I'll tell you this, man. It felt good to be back in the saddle. It's good to see your face. We need to hang out this weekend.
I wish I could say the same, but
aye, man, it's a pleasure, Rob. It's a pleasure, dog.
What are we doing? Are we doing a Sunday Super Bowl preview, or can you not bring yourself to do that?
I don't know. Let's talk. Let's chat about it. I mean, we're still. I mean, we probably have to. I think we have to. Oof.
Producer says, please, God, no. Producer, Ian. Talk Eagles Chiefs for 2 hours.
Oh, yeah, no, probably not.
Come on, stop being a baby.
You want to? We can. Shit. I mean, not for 2 hours. I can't talk about them for 2 hours.
2 hours.
You gonna put yourself through that kind of torture? I mean, let's go.
I'm gonna put myself through torture all day watching that fucking game. So, what's the difference?
Yeah, I'm gonna be cooking and drinking, and I'm doing another brisket this weekend, starting Saturday.
You don't really like football.
Yeah, I hate football. So
you're more concerned about food and cruise lines.
Yeah, you should be too. All right, so we'll play Sunday. Let's do Sunday. God. Ugh, the Chiefs. But yeah, I'll be watching that stupid ass Super Bowl.
Go Birds.
Yeah, go Birds for sure. But yeah, let's plan on that. So with that being said, though, Thursday we'll have our show on Thursday. Me and TD here, and then we'll do Sunday, you and I. And just go from there. I mean, I'm excited for the offseason. I think there's going to be so much to uncover, to see kind of how this plays out. I think the Bills can make some moves, man, and be right where they were this past season. They can make the AFC Championship game again.
I think there's no reason to think that they can't get better, that they will get better, that another year's worth of experience, time on task.
Yeah.
With everybody still getting together, you know what I mean? Like, you got your core, you got your coaches, reload and come back, add a couple pieces, and let's see if you can't go get this thing. It was a coin flip, dog.
It was.
You got to go win the coin flip, you know?
Yeah. Well, we appreciate everybody watching. John Sorva-Young says he's only watching one half of that crap, but so we'll be watching Ted Lasso. Ian said that. But man, thanks for the support, and this has been phenomenal. This is therapy for me. I hope it's been therapy and entertainment for you guys. Make sure you keep it locked and loaded with us all off season long. We're going to be giving you all kinds of content. So Rob and I were tossing around doing some film room stuff. So yeah, we'll keep you updated on all that, everything Bills, NFL draft. This is my favorite time of the year, but make sure that you're hanging out with us, and we appreciate all support. With that being said, go Bills, and we out of here.
Go Bills.